Welcome to my Malt Vault and to the first ever episode of the Malt Vault Sessions. Today with me behind the bar in our bar cum studio, I have the lovely Ms. Joanne Lee. She is a financial consultant here in Singapore and incidentally a neighbor of Malt Vault in that she owns a bar down the road called Poppy on Club Street. And today we will be tasting a single cask expression of a single malt scotch from a distillery called Glenfarclas. Now, Glenfarclas is probably one of my favorite Speyside distilleries. The name itself actually means Valley of the Green Grass, and I work directly with Glenfarclas because they are one of the only remaining independent family-owned distilleries left in Scotland. Now here in Malt Vault, I carry a single cask release of every year of Glenfarclas whiskey from 1952 to 1994. It's a very impressive collection known as the Glenfarclas Family Casks. All right, Joanne, so you ready to taste some whiskey?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so here in Malt Vault, we like to use the Glencairn crystal glass when we drink our whiskeys. And this is because, due to the shape of the glass, it actually helps to concentrate the bouquet, the nose of the whiskey. Helps you to smell more, and that is essentially 50% of the enjoyment. Full glass for you. All right, so in tasting whiskey, there are four main stages to drinking a whiskey. The first, of course, is to look at your whiskey. So what we see here, we've got this beautiful sort of amber golden colored whiskey. If you hold your glass up sort of against the light, you can see the way that the whiskey droplets run down the sides of the glass. So this particular one, you see that the legs are quite, far spaced between each other, and they move quite slowly, which would indicate a full-bodied whiskey and a bit of an older whiskey. Step two, go ahead and nose the whiskey. So bring it right up to your nose, get right in there, and a nice big full breath of the scotch. So I'm getting fruit, I'm getting more like an orange, citrusy type fruit smell, maybe a bit of light spice. And yourself?
Kind of a honey smell as well.
Okay, I'm getting that too. So the sweetness is more of a honeyed sweetness instead of like a dark fruit sweetness. Then of course, the fun part, taste the whiskey. I usually encourage people to go ahead and taste the whiskey without water, even though it is bottled at full cask strength, just so that you're able to experience the full flavor of the whiskey before going ahead and adding anything to it. So we'll go ahead and do that now. That is brilliant. All right, so this is it's an explosion initially, mainly because of the alcohol, I think. But ultimately is a very smooth, soft, sort of creamy and clean single malt. That honey you mentioned definitely stays. So the sweetness, it's real honeyed sweetness here. And I do get a little bit of sort of vanilla along with the barley as well. Okay, now final phase, add a little bit of water to it. I add water to my whiskey because I think it's kind of like aerating wine. The whiskey's been sitting in a cask for 30 years and been put into a bottle, and now it's finally, the bottle is open, it's in your glass, it's interacting with its environment, and we'll go ahead and add a few drops of water.
How much water do you need?
It's usually I tell people it's just to taste, right? So if you've tasted the whiskey without the water first, then you'll kind of know how much water you need to add in to make it comfortable or interesting for yourself. Now that's a lot easier to nose, right? It's not so burning.
Yeah.
That citrusy nose really comes out. But so we'll sign off. Joanne and I are going to go ahead and finish our amazing scotch, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Monkey see, monkey like, monkey do. BananaMana.com